Boerne Radio 103.9 FM. Coming up at 11:30 is The Power of Perseverance with Glenn Boehm. But right now is Ceasefire with Dale Adams and Ron Cisneros. The following is sponsored by the Boerne Bookshop, and this is Boerne Radio.
Welcome to Ceasefire, where civics meets civility and engagement meets empowerment. Ceasefire is hosted by former Boerne ISD trustee and owner of the Boerne Bookshop, Dale Adams, and by former Boerne City Council member and local insurance agent, Ron Cisneros.
Welcome to Ceasefire, brought to you by the Boerne Bookshop. My name is Dale Adams.
And I'm Ron Cisneros.
And today we have an interesting topic that I'm sure is on everybody's mind. We're going to talk a little bit about resolutions and maybe talk a little bit on how that corresponds with civility and civics and all that kind of stuff. And maybe we'll even talk about some of our own.
All right.
How about you, Ron?
Oh, I've got quite a few already.
Oh, no. Yeah. I think of this as reaffirming what I'm already trying to do sometimes rather than pick up new projects in my life.
Yeah. I've been thinking about this topic a lot since we wrote it down as something we wanted to do, and we have a show that we started last year about civility and civics and civic engagement, and I think I've got a good resume that I could show to people about my involvement in the community, and yet I know that there are many ways that I can improve, and as we are getting ready to do this show, I was thinking about it more, and I thought, well, I can get on the air and wag my finger and tell people, hey, here's what you need to do. But then I thought it would be better, I think it would be more inspiring if I got on the air and said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to rest on my laurels. I know there's room for improvement. And I'll tell you one right now, just right off the bat. I have never been to a school board meeting.
What?
I've never been to a school board
Seriously?
meeting. Yeah, no. I had two kids graduate from Champion High School, and they both started in first grade through their senior year, and I never once, despite the fact that it had such an impression on my children and it was an important part of their lives, and I think it is a very good school district, and I certainly have had my opinions of their decisions over the years. Like, I was never a fan of the two high schools, and I just wanted one, and I didn't think they should have been built so close together, but I never went to a school board meeting. I've never been to one, and I'm going to change that this year.
Wow. Awesome. I got to admit, you don't miss a lot, because a lot of it is just like any other governmental meeting, and to trudge through a lot of the sort of minutia.
Uh-huh.
You know? But one thing about the school board meetings that I think you're going to really like is at the very beginning, and they do commendations, and that is just an awesome thing to see all the stuff that the kids are doing in our community, which is really cool. But I'm a little bit disappointed that you're not going to come here and tell me what my resolutions need to be. I was planning to take away a list and say, okay, this is how I'm going to do my year. Ron's got me.
I can give you some pointers if you want some. Let me ask you, have you ever been to a city council meeting?
Yes, a couple.
Dang it.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of them. Yeah. I've never spoken at one or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just sort of gone there to listen. Back when they were at the police department.
Okay.
They were there.
Yeah. And you're not a city resident, so it wouldn't be as important for you. But and you've certainly been to a commissioner's court meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those aren't near. I shouldn't probably.
No, we're not
this.
going to pick on them.
No,
this time.
I don't want to pick
New
on
year.
them, but they're just not as, I guess, because they don't have all of the authority that a city council has. Their meetings aren't as exciting,
Yeah.
It's a little drier.
Yeah. They have a role, and they pretty much do that.
Yeah. And their chambers leave a lot to be desired.
Okay. Let's rest on whatever that is you're going on about.
Okay.
Resolutions. We're going to criticize people less.
That's right.
That's right.
There you go. Okay. Here, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this and let you know that this year, my plan is to attend at least one council meeting. I know that seems small, but I haven't been on council, I think it's, 5-6 years now. And I think I've been to 2 council meetings since then. And there have been numerous reasons for me to go, important things happening in the city. And I don't know if I was jaded or just, I've been there, done that. But if I'm going to do a show about civic engagement, I think I probably should show my face in council chambers again. And I want to go to one council meeting, and I want to attend at least one commissioner's court meeting. even though I don't like their chambers, but to stay engaged in the county. And I want to get, like I said earlier, I want to get that school board meeting, check that box and say, I've been there, I've seen it, I know how they operate.
I think that's a great list and a great way to start. I actually I've been telling myself I want to go down to the city council meeting and attend one once in a while just to be in the loop. And also because since I have the bookstore right downtown, there's a variety of issues that I want to talk to people about. And being able to talk to people about an issue means you need to know them first, or it's good. It's very helpful if you know somebody first. So it's good to do these meetings and hang out and just show your face so people know who you are, so that when an issue like parking downtown or something like that comes up, they're willing to listen to you. And it's not just to benefit you or me to go to the meetings to hear what's going on. It's also to expose yourself so that they know you. And I think that's always a good first step before you actually want to step into the fire and start policy planning.
That's a good idea. Another thing that I've thought about quite a bit recently in reading about administrative courts. You've heard a lot about those recently, and depending on where you stand politically, you either like them or you don't. But I think if you're of the right, then you think that there have been a lot of abuses from these administrative courts. These are non-elected people, and people are forced into these courts where an agency really predominantly wins all the cases. And then I had a discussion with another former elected official a while back about the Planning and Zoning Commission, and his concern that these people were appointed and they really didn't have to answer to the citizens. And I thought that was interesting. And so one of my resolutions is to go to a P&Z meeting. Now, I've been to 2 of them in the entire time I've been in Boerne, so you're talking 20 plus years now, and only one as a councilman. I was always concerned about, when I was on council, about going to a P&Z meeting because I didn't want to. We had ultimate authority. If somebody appealed a P&Z decision, it was going to come to council. And so I was only one time that I ever set foot in there as a councilman. And I had instant regret in doing that, but I haven't been since. And they do have a lot of authority. And I think it's important to not just visit them, but the Historic Landmark Commission and all of these other appointed boards and commissions, and see how they operate, why they operate, and get a better understanding of their purpose and how these people get into these positions.
That's a good point. A great idea. Maybe I'll go visit the Arts Commission or whatever it is that picks all the art around town. But so you brought up the administrative courts and stuff. Do you know if those are open to the public?
You talking about the planning and zoning?
No, those aren't. I know those are. But you were talking about administrative courts where people are challenging something done by an agency in their own courts. Are those open?
I don't know. I don't know enough about them, and I think that's something. If I'm going to do this radio show, I need to be better educated about those things.
Likewise.
There was somebody I was talking to just the other day about an administrative court in the state of Texas, and I was like, wow, I thought this was like a national level thing. I didn't realize that we had that in the state of Texas as well. And the more I read about them, the less I like them, because there's no accountability to the citizens.
And it doesn't follow the sort of balance of powers where you've got a judicial side and an administrative side that are separated.
Right.
And aren't beholden to each other.
Right.
Which is, an administrative court is within an executive agency, so it's automatically beholden to them.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to learn more about those. I really do. And again, these boards and commissions, and there are some, I'm trying to think of the Zoning Board of Adjustments. Never been to one of their meetings. Now I hear they meet once a month, and there's sometimes nothing to talk about. But I thought, again, if I'm going to do this show, I should know about that. I should know when they meet. I should know what their purpose is. I don't think I could accurately define for you right now what they do.
Yeah.
Shame on me.
There's another one that you probably haven't been to.
What's that?
Have you ever been to an appraisal district board meeting?
No.
I went to one once.
Oh my gosh, what was that like?
It was a very small meeting. I was the only one there, and everybody looked at me. I mean, there may have been 8 people there in the room.
Oh.
There weren't assistants. It was just them getting together to chat, and I happened to be there. This person from the outside. It was before I got involved in anything. It was odd.
Philip Bell tells a great story about old Boerne. I'm guessing this is back in I think this is in the early 90s, and nobody would go to city council meetings. And he said he got interested and he started going to the meetings. And the entire council and city staff looked at him with suspicion. What are you doing here? like back then, if you showed up, it was because you wanted to run for office or something. So I think that's humorous. It's certainly changed now. People do go.
Yes, which is a wonderful thing, actually.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yep. So here's another one that I think this is really important for me. I want to improve my listening and speaking skills. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to believe, I think most of us would like to believe, that we are good listeners. The other day, Kathy, and if y'all don't know who Kathy is, that's my wife, the better half. Kathy was listening to a podcast from Cornell University, I believe. They do these wonderful podcasts. They're completely free. And it was on listening skills. And it was really good. It was very informative and picked up a lot from it. But it made me realize, too, that I am not the good listener that I would like to believe that I am. So one of my objectives this year is to go to at least one Toastmasters meeting. This should make you happy.
Yes, awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah. Now, I've been to one before, and I think it was y'all were doing a workshop or something. It was not your typical Toastmasters meeting, so I went to the wrong one. And I've got to tell you right now, I'm going to admit that I have a great level of discomfort about this. This is one that will probably, as I work through my resolutions, this one will be at the bottom of the list. Because
so we'll expect you November-ish, maybe?
Probably, maybe even December. When is your last meeting of 2025? I'm not, and people are going to find this hard to believe, I'm not fond of public speaking. I really don't like it. And the idea of having to get up and just start talking is not something I'm comfortable with.
But if you got a microphone to protect you, you're okay.
Right here, I'm looking at you, and it's okay. I've got one other person in the room, our silent partner here.
Yeah.
Hi.
Thank you, Lexley. I didn't want to feel like I was all alone here.
No.
Ron.
Yeah, it's the two of you all. Every now and then somebody walks by the studios and they look in and I'm like, what are those weirdos doing?
Yeah.
And then I don't have to listen to the show. So, I have my wife to tell me all about it later on.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, I think from Toastmasters that not only can I improve public speaking skills, but I think I can also improve my listening skills.
You will definitely. I guarantee it. Even if you don't improve your public speaking skills, you'll improve your listening skills because there's actually more of that involved in all the different things you do there than speaking.
Okay.
And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. This is Ceasefire with Dale and Ron, and brought to you by the Boerne Bookshop, and we'll be back in just a moment. Boerne has its own bookshop. In fact, it's called the Boerne Bookshop. Hi, I'm Dale Adams, inviting you to get lost. Get lost in a good book in our relaxed and casual atmosphere. We have a wide and eclectic selection in the Boerne Bookshop. We pride ourselves on finding what you are looking for. We do author meet and greets, host writing workshops, and can connect you with a good book club. And your young ones will absolutely love our kids section at the Boerne Bookshop. And while we want you to get lost, we're easy to find, as we're in the heart of Boerne at the back of the Richter Tavern building. We are the Boerne Bookshop. Welcome back to Ceasefire with Dale and Ron, brought to you by the Boerne Bookshop. And we're talking about New Year's resolutions, and Ron just seems to have a whole load of them that he's telling us all. And the one thing that I have learned in life is that we can all make resolutions. We can tell ourselves we're going to do new things. We're going to change what we do, make ourselves a better person. But when you go out and tell other people that you're going to do, that's when it happens. Because then everybody's watching you. Whenever I've done something, once I go out and I tell people that I'm going to do it, then the pressure's on that you actually follow through. So I think it's pretty neat that you're coming out and telling the entire community that you're going to do these things. And so everybody will watch. The city councilman will be counting how many times you show up.
That's why I'm only committing to one meeting.
Yeah.
Speaking of city council, since I'm talking about going to these meetings, I should tell everybody right now, take a moment to let you know that city council meets on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of every month. Commissioners Court changed for 2025, and I hope I'm getting this right, but they are now going to meet on Tuesdays as well, on Tuesday morning. So they're moving from Mondays, and it'll still be second and fourth, but it'll be Tuesdays rather than Mondays. And I think the reason for this is so that one of the commissioners can go to the Alamo Area Metropolitan Planning Organization meetings, which last year our representative was Christina Bergman, and she would have to leave the commissioners' court meetings early in order to attend the MPO meetings. And if you don't know what MPO is, this is a good time for me to talk about that. That is an organization that was started in the early 70s by the federal government. They created these metropolitan planning organizations for the purpose of distributing funds for highway projects. So prior to the creation of these MPOs, your local senators and representatives would go up to Washington and they'd fight for how much funding was going to get distributed back into their communities. All of that's done now. It gets put into these MPOs, and these MPOs distribute the money in their metropolitan. It's critically important for our area if we want to fund highway projects or improvements on I-10. So a lot of the stuff, the improvements that you've seen over the last decade on I-10 are done through or funded through the MPO.
Now, the MPOs are appointed by local governmental agencies, like the commissioners have a representative, the city council has a representative, the San Antonio has a bunch of representatives.
Correct.
Who decides how much money they get from the federal government or the state government?
Oh, that's a great question, and I should know the answer to that because I used to be on the MPO, but I don't recall the answer to that. And maybe I need to go to one of those meetings because they're open to the public. They're held down at the VIA headquarters in their conference room right across from San Antonio College in San Antonio, and they meet the last Monday of the month.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't like all these alphabet agencies, having these combined agencies actually is helpful, because I remember when we were on the school board and we'd get together with the city and the county and we'd talk to TxDOT and say, we need this highway fixed or this road intersection done. It really has a greater impact when all the local government agencies or governmental entities cooperate. Mm-hmm. And I think the MPO helps with that.
Yeah.
Doesn't ensure it, but it helps with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and they get a bad rap. These people think they're trying to build a loop around Boerne, and it's, oh my gosh, they've got so many other projects that are so far ahead, and Bexar County just sucks up most of the funding. Yep. And they're beyond the evil intent you think they might have. They're getting down into things like the new bridge on 46 that crosses I-10, MPO funds.
Yeah.
So that's, despite what you might think of them, they're doing some heavy lifting.
Yeah. Yeah, even the local stuff that's needed, like the bridge on 3351 coming up from Fair Oaks.
Yeah,
that's
right.
They're all their projects. They oversee all the transportation infrastructure.
Yeah. Dale, have you got anything? Any resolutions?
I always have some, but I don't like to speak them because then I have to do them. Okay, one of them this year is we've just finished up 5 years at the Boerne Bookshop, and which has been awesome. And we've been doing a lot of rethinking our mission and all that kind of stuff to reinvigorate ourselves. No big changes or anything like that, but just to rehash in my mind what we're all about. And one thing we've never actually really done in 5 years is an accurate inventory. So one of my goals is to actually sometime in the next month or so do an inventory of what we've got. Mm-hmm. It's a big job, and I tried it once and it didn't work, and so I'm gonna try it again. So now that I've actually said it, I guess I better do it. And we did a book fair last year at Middle School North, which was awesome, and some of the other schools I've talked to some of them. So I'm looking to maybe do some more book fairs at schools or maybe other places, and that's really exciting, and that should be pretty neat. So those are two of the big things I have going.
Cool.
With the store.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. A lot of work, but it's fun and exciting, and people like it. I'll attend some meetings too, maybe.
Yeah, we can go together.
Okay. Oh, if we go together, people are really going to look at us if we go together. They're going to think there's some kind of strange coalition developing.
Well, just for the record, I'm not running for anything. So
neither am I. Heaven forbid.
Oh gosh. Yeah, been there, done that. So here's another big one I want to talk about, and this one involves my Rotary Club. I've been a Rotarian since I can't remember. I think it was 2005 when I joined Rotary, and I've already done quite a bit. I've been a club president a couple of times, and been to some district conferences and been to their annual President-elect training seminar, which they have up in Dallas, and been involved in some projects and some international projects. I go to Aguascalientes, Mexico frequently, and they have an eye bank down there.
That's really cool, that place. Yeah.
It's fun. But so many other things in my life. I've seen periods of great excitement on something, and then I've seen periods where I get a little bit jaded. I can tell you I was a more engaged councilman my first 2 terms than I was in my last term. And I've had those moments in Rotary too. I regret when that happens. Usually it's something bureaucratic or some sort of nightmare that happens, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? And I think not now, but a couple of years ago, I had that experience where I was just going to the meetings, and I'm like, what am I doing here? I don't feel something. I got approached by Paul Barwick, who is the Special Projects Director for the City of Boerne, and they're looking for additional funding sources for the new park on the north side of town on Adler Road.
Yeah.
And he was asking if my Rotary Club would get involved with that. And he asked for some simple things, park benches and picnic tables. And I'm like, that's low-hanging fruit. That's easy to do. Don't even need to write grants for that. And I was like, give me something bigger. And he did. He said, what about an all-abilities playground? And that is something that actually I've thought about for a long time. I mean, I've been thinking about that for a very, very long time. When I was on council, I was thinking about it. And I thought, hey, that's cool. Yeah, I think I can get my club into that. And so I started talking to people in the other 3 Rotary clubs in the area, Dominion, Fair Oaks, and the Noon Club. And I got what I thought was some tentative support for it. Yeah, we can get behind this. And so I started getting more information from Paul, and then he told me, like, how much is this going to cost? Maybe we should start there. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, $250,000. It's more like $875,000. I didn't let that deter me, though. I think this is a worthy project, and so it's a goal that I want to accomplish this year. I want to help the city get that all-abilities playground done.
That's pretty cool. Now, what exactly is an all-abilities playground?
It is a playground that allows children of various physical abilities to play together. I know we use these I don't know what the terms are now. We don't want to say disabilities, but there are children with disabilities. And in the past, they might have had playground equipment set aside for them. But this is playground equipment that incorporates children of all abilities so that they get to play together.
I like that. That's neat. That's neat.
So I think that's important, and there's nothing like that right now in Boerne, and I think it would be a big draw to the community, and it would inspire people to get involved, and so I want to do it.
Cool. Neat. I think that's pretty neat. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. Let's get back to talking about resolutions. Why would we do this? And you've got some great ones that you're coming up with and that you're going to do. Why do we do this all in January? We do have a renewal period, but what is it about January that makes us all want to recommit to improving ourselves or improving our community?
If I knew the answer to that, I might also know the answer to why, when I was in school, I would wait till the 11th hour to study or start my writing projects. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's the symbolic idea of renewal.
Yeah.
I read something, I believe it was in the Wall Street Journal last year, about this new trend where people start these resolutions in the fall.
I heard about that. Yes, I think I saw it. Yeah.
And the idea is that you don't wait till January. You get a jump start on it, and you really can start at any time. Mm-hmm. But there's something about that getting into the end of the year. There's always something a little somber about it. Maybe it's the changing of the trees or the Christmas decorations, and you think about, or maybe I do, maybe I'm alone in this, think about people you don't have with you anymore.
Yeah.
In my case, it would be my brother or my mom, and I think about where I've gone and what I have now, a granddaughter, and it's just a lot of reflection. And then, okay, there's room for improvement. What can I do?
Yeah. Hey, so for me, a lot of times I look at the new number clicking over, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I need to start doing something.
Yeah. And speaking of doing something, so great quote from Amelia Earhart: "The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity."
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And there's a new book out about her.
Oh, is that
about her
right?
story? Yes. Yeah, we just got in recently.
Okay.
It's a neat book on her story, so that's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And the book I'm going to talk about today, though, it's called "All It Takes Is a Goal," and it's by John ACUF. I hope I didn't mutilate that too bad, but it's a 3-step plan to ditch regret and tap into your massive potential. It's another self-help book, but it's about setting that goal and getting moving on it. And it's a great book, and we got it at the Boerne Bookshop.
Hey, Dale, before I forget, so we've been meeting now for, 3 months 2 months. We've had 2 meetings for Whiskey and Wisdom. Talk about that real quick.
Oh, yeah, okay. So we've got a couple of different book clubs at the store, and one of them is called Whiskey and Wisdom, and we read things that help enlighten us about the human condition. So we've read Courage is Calling by
Ryan Holiday.
We read Mindset, and just books that help us to understand ourselves. And we just at the bookstore, it's on every other month on Thursday, the third Thursday, and you can find out more details at the bookstore.
And we have whiskey.
Yeah. As opposed to the other book club, which is Wine and Read, where they have wine.
Yeah.
So take your pick.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was the book club where they just whine, they complain.
No, they don't.
Oh, okay. I think our book club is better, but anyway.
They're both great. And I think that's going to wrap it up. Thank you for listening to Ceasefire with Dale and Ron. If you missed any of it, you can always go to listen to our podcast at BourneRadio.com. And we will see you next week.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes, Happy New Year. Boerne has its own bookshop. In fact, it's called the Boerne Bookshop. Hi, I'm Dale Adams, inviting you to get lost. Get lost in a good book in our relaxed and casual atmosphere. We have a wide and eclectic selection in the Boerne Bookshop, and we pride ourselves on finding what you are looking for. We do author meet and greets, host writing workshops, and can connect you with a good book club. And your young ones will absolutely love our kids section at the Boerne Bookshop. And while we want you to get lost, we're easy to find, as we're in the heart of Boerne at the back of the Richter Tavern building. We are the Boerne Bookshop.